Most activewear founders get this wrong about their collection. They think that a drop will only succeed if the whole collection is this over-designed, over-developed, over-the-top production. But the truth is, you really only have to knock one out of the park to have that MVP product effect that pays dividends and that expands people's interest into the remaining items. So on this episode, what we're going to be looking at is how to develop a collection with the MVP idea in mind, so that you can get people's attention to that one product. You can craft the identity of the entire collection without needing to over-develop and over-design the remaining items. That way, the one product leads the pack, drives eyeballs, sets the tone and the intention, and lets people know what the collection is about. If you're ultimately tired in not knowing what to design and how to design it, and not knowing how to capture customers' attention with a standout piece, this episode is going to be for you. Whether you're an existing brand that has scaled or you're a new startup looking to get into it, my name is Shadi, and over the last 10 years, I have literally helped thousands of founders go from an idea to a physical product in under 30 days. So this episode is going to be about how you can develop your collection around a strong MVP, how to do it, how to identify what makes sense for you, and ultimately how to leverage it for your future collections. So without further ado, let us get right into it. So the biggest mistake that I see founders make is that they treat all products equally. They essentially try to design each of the products in their collection, and they try to make them all compete for the same set of eyeballs. But ultimately what that does is it confuses you and it confuses customers. Ultimately, if you put one product at the forefront, that changes the way that you develop a range. So let's try to understand first and foremost what a hero product actually is. Ultimately, a hero product is not necessarily your favorite piece in the collection. If anything, you may very well like the product that is not the hero product. You may like the product that is the simple, straightforward, staple product. I know for a fact that when I've developed products with some founders, the products that they gravitate towards are the ones that don't have that MVP appeal. On the flip side, it may very well be. The MVP product typically does three core things essentially. It works to get people's attention, it communicates the brand ethos clearly, and it pulls people deeper into the collection, into the other items that you have on offering. So for activewear, essentially these could be the leggings that have the most shape-defining features. If you think about the Define legging or the Athlete Amplify legging, these are great examples of hero products. It might be the sports bra that has this integrated technology in there that is very unique and for a very specific type of audience, and it signifies to people the brand's commitment to quality, performance, and product, but it might not be for everyone. It might be the oversized hoodie that is designed with a grunge aesthetic with loud, bold, and vibrant graphics. Ultimately, it is the anchor piece that tells people what your brand is about, and it gives them almost like a sort of hit of the brand in a very short and condensed way. Ultimately, what do we need to understand is why an MVP product typically carries the entire collection. Most people do not have the attention span to look at a full collection of 20 or 30 SKUs and to make a decision on what is going to be, or if that collection is going to be their favorite. What they're typically looking for is an MVP that leads the pack, that catches their attention, that makes that product and the drop feel relevant, and it's the one that essentially feels like it's going to become the most wanted or the most coveted. Young LA are great examples of this. They typically launch products that can range between, or collections that range between 20 to 40 different SKUs in one collection. So it can be quite difficult to know what to focus on, but they typically have one or two special standout pieces that really push the envelope and push the mark, that seep into the remaining items in their collection. So what this typically happens is it becomes their thumbnail product. It becomes their hero image product. It becomes the product that you tend to think of when a lot of customers or when a lot of their influencers are showcasing the brand. Car companies do this all the time. They'll typically have what is known as a press release car or a press release color, whether it's the orange Range Rover in 2004 or if it's the yellow Lamborghini Gallardo. All of these cars are known today by that one color that was used in the press release that sets the intention. There's a reason the Gallardo was not portrayed in a stealthy gray or a black, because that is not the ethos or what speaks to the brand and the type of consumer that Lamborghini goes after. So ultimately, what makes a strong hero product? All strong hero MVP products have 5 qualities that they have in common. Number 1 is that they are easy to understand. Like, customers understand what this product is and who it's for very fast. 2, they have a strong visual appeal that makes them stand out from the crowd. 3, it sits confidently and comfortably in the center of the brand. If you look at the Gymshark Onyx collection, for example, most people remember from 2016 the seamless Onyx quarter zip hoodie, as known and as popularized by David Lade. That is typically the product that you think of when you think of Onyx. Although they have a variety of other products that they have brought into the Onyx range, it's that one product that stands out as the core focus of the Onyx range. Next, they have commercial strength. So ultimately, even if a product is unique and different, it still has commercial viability. It has appeal that will actually get people to purchase. Because if a product, especially a hero product, isn't commercially viable, it's not going to make its way out into the general public, and ultimately customers are going to disregard the collection altogether. And then lastly, it makes the rest of the collection feel stronger. So a great hero product not only stands out on its own, but it seeps into the value and the qualities of the other products. A very well-known way of this is when Audi came out in the late 2010s or the late 2000s with their R8 idea. The R8 was a comeback to form for Audi in the sports car segment. Although the R8 was a small collection or a small percentage of their total inventory, what it did was it showcased to customers that Audi was a brand that took sports performance seriously in their car lineup, and that ethos or that perception that you had of the R8 seeped into their other cars like their A4, their A5, their A8, all of the cars that they had out at the time. This is the power of a hero product. So ultimately, what is the mistake that most founders make when it comes to selecting their hero product? Usually, they make the mistake because they choose the most complex product, thinking that that's going to be the hero product. That may not be the hero product. That may be the most complex product, but it might not be the one that's going to drive the collection. Or they choose the most expensive one because they're able to pull out all the bells and whistles, or because they have the highest margin on it. Or they choose the most unique one that is the most outlandish. Or they never ultimately choose at all and they fall into the trap that most founders fall into. All of these things create problems. When you don't have a hero product, there's no hierarchy in your drop. Customers don't know what to prioritize, what to look at first, and what to analyze. There's no clear attention point, and ultimately, there's no obvious entry product that gets customers to actually move into the range. If you look at the iPhone, for example, especially with their current lineup, the way that the iPhone is presented always has the focus on the iPhone Pro. The iPhone Pro, despite being a larger or a more expensive entry level, it is the distinguishing product that tells customers what the iPhone is about, what it can do, and although some customers may not need that level of power, they can always save money by going for the regular iPhone. Most people end up opting for the Pro version, even though they may not need it. That's the power of hero product positioning. So you're probably wondering yourself, Shadi, how should I pick my hero product and what would make the most amount of sense for my brand? In order to do this, you need to ask yourself the following 5 key questions. Number 1 is, which product, if I was presenting a collection to a buyer, would I put first in front of them? 2, which of my products explains my brand the fastest? And this is very nuanced because you need to understand your brand first and foremost, and you need to make sure that your product actually portrays the ethos and the mission statement of your brand. If your brand is all about the outdoors, yet your hero product is a non-durable, non-weather resistant, non-climate resistant item, then there's a mismatch there. 3, which is the product that customers are more likely to use as their first purchase than not? So it may not make sense if you are an activewear brand that's focused on gym wear to put a cap as your hero product, but it might make more sense if you are a running brand where caps are a fundamental part of the average running outfit to put a cap as your hero product. 5, ultimately it comes down to, if only one of the products perform, which one of them would you want it to be? This question ultimately forces you to think commercially, not just emotionally. So then you might be asking, Shadi, if I have one hero product, I have remaining items, what is going to be the focus of that hero product? So you ultimately have 5 core items that you can put into play. You have your companion product, which accompanies your hero product. This is the piece that naturally sells with your hero product and adds value. 2, you might have the styling product. This is the piece that ultimately creates the world around your hero product. So if you have a hero product that is a jacket, then your styling product might be the pants that pair with it. You have an access product, or what we know as an entry-level product. This can be a low-cost, consumable product that gets customers to put their foot through the door. This might be a base layer t-shirt, specifically if we're talking about our running brand or our hiking brand. And then you have the value building product. This is the piece that makes the drop feel much more complete, and it builds a moat around your brand. This could be something like these socks, or if you're a running brand, it might be some sort of accessory that you wear that specific runners or runners specifically would want, that shows the runners that this is a brand that understands their needs fundamentally. So ultimately, how does having a hero product change your marketing? Well, now you know what product ultimately fits into the thumbnail. You know which products are going to lead your campaign. You know which products are going to showcase your product page the most strongly. You know which products are going to be pushed heavier and harder in your content, and you know which products you should anchor to your website visuals. Ultimately, without this, your clarity and your marketing focus gets diluted, and a strong hero product gives your campaign a center, which gives it focus and gives it direction. If you were to take one takeaway from this idea and this concept, is that when it comes to building a collection, a strong collection is not a group of equally important and equally visible items. A strong collection has one piece that usually leads the charge, one piece that carries people's attention, and one piece that shapes how the entire drop is perceived and understood. And then when people know what that one piece is, they've internalized it, they're able to take all of the positive elements of that one piece and they naturally seep into the other products, like with the R8 example I gave you. So the next time you're building a drop, ask yourself, what does my hero product need to be? What is the one piece that gets attention, that communicates the brand, and that makes the collection easier to buy, not individually, but also as a whole? And once you answer it, your collection becomes that much stronger and that much faster selling, because there's a clear identity and a clear focus. Not because you ultimately made more products and you had more to purchase, but because you now have one product that does the right job and leads the charge, that adds value to the remaining collection. If you guys enjoyed this episode and you want to build a collection with a strong MVP product or hero product, you can check the link in the description to apply to work with us one-on-one. And we'll get back to you literally within 30 minutes of what it would take to turn your idea into a physical product in under 30 days and avoid many of the common pitfalls that first-time and established founders face when building a brand. And if you guys enjoyed this episode, please consider smashing a massive thumbs up. It really helps us out. It keeps us motivated to keep pumping out this content for you. And I say this from the very bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Fit Design TV. Until next week's episode, stay awesome.